Hello everyone, and today I will lay a brick on the altar of consumerism. Thanks to my list of the best city builders, you will be able to enlarge your library, yes, and gain up to 4 inches for an enhanced experience and pleasure. Like an IPCC report, the rankings are released yearly and not so different from each other, giving the illusion of a consensus nearly scientific. Anyway, the time where you bought your game in a box is over. Over are the sensation nearly erotic of unpacking and sniffing fresh manuals. Ah, fresh manuals. Nowadays, 3 clicks it's all you need. The earlier the better. The dopamine is so strong after a purchase that the game doesn't need to be finished anymore. Bugs? I love that. Content? What is that? I love the alpha. This is the new anthem of the player lambda. Well, there is some good in the old, like the infamous poet Jensen Ackles put it, Yuhi. Listen, these women, they are like fine wine. Okay, the older they get, the more delicious but drier. Instead of leaning toward a future that appears to be young but uncertain, grab your lube and embark with me on a journey to grease those gems from old. First on the list, Caesar 3. Do you know Proust? Proust had a Madeleine. What we call in French the réminiscence. It means that when you smell the Madeleine, you think about the time and the atmosphere around the experience more than the cake itself. And Caesar 3 does that to me. Call me crazy, but this is a real gem, and if you love city builders and you've never touched Caesar 3, you are the crazy one. It is an isometric game, which means that you look from above but a bit on the incline, like all the games on this list in fact. But what is so good about Caesar 3? Roughly, you are a governor sent by the big boss of Rome. You have to develop the empire through the development of cities. You can choose between a military career, the choice translates into being constantly bullied by the tribes of Europe, to stop and kill you. The other choice is peaceful, but you will also be bullied, sometimes by the barbars and the rest of the time by the difficulty of the game. What is the goal, you might say? Build the best cities. Hey, you asked, huh? No, but you have to fulfill some criteria. The population. You start by a small settlement of 500 people top, and you finish with a megalopole of 10,000 people. And then you have the favor. Caesar, you know the guy, Caesar? Or should I say, does he know you? No? Well, you have to work on it. Send him gifts. I heard he loves giraffes, and maybe cheetahs. The culture. Do you have dingoes or savants in your cities? Let's put it that way. The more Virgils you have, the higher the culture score. The most idiots there are, the less the culturation will be. You get the idea? So you are forced to civilize the masses with theaters, schools and libraries. Then there is peace. Yes, there are crimes in Caesar 3, but the police do not see color. I mean, they only see red. If you are as red as SPQR, then you are all good. But if you got blue or anything other than red, then you will be kicked by the legions. They are not the most forgiving one to inner city crime either. Raise a torch and you will be cut in half. Well, peace is simple. Nothing has to burn down in your city. Finally, the prosperity. The most important of all the criterias. That is evaluating if you got rich tax-paying citizen or just poor plebeians in your city. The plebs intense, it is not sexy. The score is 0, nada. But bring me some patrician and then we can talk. I have videos on it if you wish to know more, but honestly, you just really have to play it. It's just 6 euros on GOG. It should be quite the same amount of the green papers you have on your side of the world. And this is for 60 hours of playtime, at least. Plus, you have a mod called Augustus, which modernized the game, and it is free. A very good deal. Next up is Pharaoh. Same stuff as Caesar 3, but without Augustus. So, let's say it is a bit more rough on the edges. It is not just a skin for Caesar 3. The campaign is much longer, and criteria are the same, except for the piece that is replaced by the monument. Yes, if you hear Egypt, you hear pyramids, sphinx and mastabas. Be prepared to see stone being pushed, pulled, grabbed, carved, trimmed, all the good stuff when it comes to pyramids. There you dig a hole, there you bring some bricks, there I bring some limestones, tada, you have a pointy big thingy to put your body when you will be deady. It has some pizzazz, but fuck it is long. Real estate was at another level back then. There is some realism to it. You will spend your time watching the monument erecting from the burning sands of the desert like the pharaohs spend their lives waiting for their final destination. All that for a coffin. Imagine the pride of those dudes. It has no limit. All that supported by a marvelous soundtrack. Enchanting, ravishing, immerse yourself, see the Nile, the dunes, the shores, the fields of reeds, the crocodiles, and those fucking frogs. Yes, those frogs. Mechanics are complex in Pharaoh. Everything can collapse in a few minutes. Oh, you waited too long to solve the unemployment issue. Ah well, too bad. Take the emigration in the teeth. However, overcoming those difficulties is really enjoyable. You will get super proud for succeeding in maintaining a big fat city with a big ass pyramid. All that for only 10 euros. Conversion wise, I'll let you do the math. Including the extension Cleopatra, you will have 80 hours of gameplay. Next on the list, change of era, change of scenery. We go for this gem for Maxis. I meant to say Maxis. The 3000 version of the 4 of SimCity is really a pearl. Regardless, it is like City Skylines. Yes, I dare to say it, I do not care about any taboo. SimCity 3000 and 4 are on the same step of City Skylines, if not a little bit higher. City Skyline is at the core a traffic simulator. In that case, you will say SimCity is just a coloring book simulator. And it's not that far from the truth. You are like a trader in front of color going up and down, and reacting on it. Is it green going up? Purple? Yellow? Well, figure it out and go fast and place the right color along the road. I love coloring books, so I love SimCities. But that is not all, huh? You have to place roads, you have to place pipes, you have the water, you have electricity, all the good stuff, like a real city as a matter of fact. But you are not alone. You have an army of ministers, or what we should say counselors, to help you understand how good you are governing that city. But most often, they will tell you how bad you are as a mayor. You can read it in their eyes, they really think you are not fit for mayorship. Then you fall into the monotony and you do like everyone. You try to achieve a specific city size, like a specific population size. We all have our own number. Like everyone else, you get bored past that number. And you do like everyone else, you smite those poor souls. A masterpiece for everyone in search for a godlike experience or with a god complex. Anyway, what is the difference between 3000 or 4? Main one is the region system. In 4, you can build several cities creating a region. It is not much, but it is still better than SimCity 2013. And I should say that SimCity 3000 has the best soundtrack of all the games ever made. For 10 euros for 3000 and 20 euros for the 4, often under discount, you got a small 50 hours of game time. So it is also worth your time and your money. Next up, Anno 1404, the jewel of the series. Do not get confused with Ubisoft Scam History Edition. Huh? I have nothing against spending money. I love Steam sale. I swipe the card like crazy, you could say. However, buying the same game, again, just for a 4K experience on my 1080p screen, and finally getting the bug fixes we waited for so long is a thing that my anus is not yet ready to try. Enough said, it is an incredible game. In essence, you are still the boss. You build stuff normal for a city builder lists. But I have a few questions for you. You like the sea? You like the fishes? The waves? The sand? You have no seasickness? I have a small caravel ready for you at the docks. Open and build an empire. British style. Sailing with your small ship, you go island to island to find the paradise. But I mean the capitalism paradise. The one where there are natural resources and space. But that is not all. Do not forget to sail south and meet your friends from the Orient. Small gift, small missions, and there you have a wonderful East-West cooperation is in place. Be prepared to build marvelous cities, but beware, islands are interdependent, which means you will have to organize the routes to bring everything everywhere from anywhere. A logistics orgasm. After that you have the extension called Venice. You know Venice, the city with the canals and all? You do not do big ports anymore. No. You do cities. Cities now on water. In short, it is probably one of the best Anno. For me, it is the best Anno. Yes, I like 1800, do not get me wrong, but there is a rule in the city builder genre. If you have as much DLCs as The Sims, it means you went too far. 15 euros only, often under discount, and you will get 30 hours of pure pleasure if you only stick to the campaign. If you plan to buy this game and you do not have it already, get the History Edition. Yes, it is painful only for those who already bought the game. At least you will not have to get support from the Steam forums. Next up, Zeus, in the vein of the Impressions games. Wow, that's a mouthful. The third of the litter brings you to ancient Greece and introduces the concept of heroes. There, it is another gem. The heroes come to the cities to protect you against minotaurs and giant scorpions. Honestly, it would be hard for me to kick the ass of a giant biped bull with an axe. In addition to that, you have distinct social layers to manage. There are the rich, who got nice houses that are distinct from those of the less rich, what we call the poor or the pleb, the peasants. I was so shocked when I saw that the victory system is different now in this subgenre. You do not have to fulfill a set of scores, but rather to fulfill some kind of city status, a city-state. Like you need an ally, you need some elites for your city, or you need to export fleece to the nearby city so they do not get cold during the winter. It was refreshing to fulfill city-states criteria rather than waiting for the phallic pillar to rise from 0 to 100. The combats are also revamped. You have to recruit the army from the population itself now. If you raise a big army, fine. But you might have troubles maintaining your industries then. We surf on the same vibes here. A small 10 euros and you will have 40 hours of pure Zeus juice. And the list is ending by the last of the series, Emperor, the accomplishment of the trial error process of Impressions games. I do not mean that Caesar 3 is an error, but from Caesar 3 to Emperor there was a great evolution. Here everything clashes into a final state. You take out the army system of Zeus and put back the forts from Caesar 3. You sprinkle a bit of monument building and you garnish the whole with a diplomacy system that goes a step further than Zeus. The campaign is probably the most polished of the four. The tutorial alone lasts for 3 hours. FML. 3 fucking hours. The game is not easy either. You have to deal with feng shui and 2 social layers, as well as a diplomacy system that unveiled a happy logistic conundrum. If you have OCD, this game is for you. The cherry on the cake is the religious system, where you do not have God to worship. No. You have heroes, and you have to get their benediction. For that, nothing else like some chopped up meat. Everything wrapped up into graphic design that hold up to this day. Only 6 euros for a playtime of 80 hours. I hope you like China because you're gonna build pagodas and see pandas for a while. And voila, in a nutshell, you have to print the idea that the city builders revolves around the sacred quadratic of Impressions games, the Maxis masterpieces, and a bit of Anno. All of that and you got a timeless library of gaming pleasure for only 61 euros. 81 euros if you add SimCity 4. But truthfully, games like Anno and SimCity 4, you just have to wait sales, and you will get them for cheap. There is just a small bonus mention for a game that is dear to my heart, Nebuchadnezzar. You can play around ancient the region between Tigris and Euphrates. You see? Build nice temples, nice palaces. Monuments are fully customizable. You also have social layer system, like Zeus, like Emperor, but much more complex, much more polished. You do not have rich or poor, worker or lazy asses. The layers are interdependent. You need craftsmen to produce beers for your workers, and you need workers to raise the herds of lambs for your elites. It is well rounded, and you do not get screwed over an endless early access because it is already released as a 1.0. The developers, only 2 of them, are actively bringing free patches and are open to suggestions in their Discord, a process to be encouraged these days. An example, should I say. I can only recommend you to test it. The list has games that last in times and ages, are tested, finished, polished, and good. No troubles over overpriced alpha. Pick one, pick all of them as you wish, but that list will never disappoint you. Do not hesitate to comment below if I missed some titles that are dear to your hearts. I think we can all agree that this list is the list of the classics.